This season of Apex Legends features a new rank system that boasts a more tournament-like scoring style where placement means more than ever, leading to teams getting increasingly desperate and turning to ratting antics to stay relevant on Stormpoint. This, combined with the difficult terrain, makes information more valuable than before, and what's a better way to stay in the know than with Seer, the best legend for Recon in Apex Legends Season 13. Seer has kind of a low pick rate across most levels of play, but this pick rate doubles in Diamond 1 to Predator lobbies. He is one of the few legends that you need in order to combat the current meta in Ranked, so stay tuned to learn how to stay aware of your surroundings and play Seer in this late installment of Guide Wednesday, where I use my almost 7,000 hours to teach you how to play Apex. So how does this kit work? Seer's passive, Heatseeker, allows you to hear and visualize the heartbeats of your enemies within 75 meters when aiming down sights. Seeing as he's a Recon character, Seer also gets the Recon passive, which allows you to scan survey beacons to determine the circle location after the currently marked circle. You can quickly use the Heatseeker passive to make sure an area is safe before committing to a zone scan, which would render you vulnerable on top of the beacon for 7 seconds. When aiming down sights, a circle will display around the crosshair with the color of the circle changing depending on the distance and direction of the enemy within a 55-degree cone. This works even if you're not holding a weapon, but hit the aim down sights button. When an enemy is within 75 meters, an orange arrow will be displayed around the circle indicating their direction, and when you're aiming straight towards the enemy, the whole reticle turns orange. When an enemy is outside of the 75-meter range but still close enough, a blue arrow will be displayed to indicate their direction, and when the enemy is within the circle, the reticle returns to a normal state. You can toggle your passive off by using the aiming down sights key and then pressing your secondary tactical action button, which is default H on keyboard. This might be useful if you're like me and get distracted with the big orange reticle getting in the way. Make sure to always quickly glance around the area before committing to any larger decisions, such as making a rotation or joining a fight, as well as make it a priority to scan the surrounding area if a fight draws out for too long, or right after you have finished a fight so you won't get surprised by any third parties that might be heading your way. The passive's cone received a pretty hefty nerf a while back, and 55 degrees isn't necessarily that forgiving. When scanning your surroundings for an enemy, you want to make sure to hold your passive up against any cover or buildings within 75 meters to ensure that nobody's hiding out of your sight. Try to visualize what levels and places enemies can hide behind to cut down on the time you have to spend looking around with your passive. His tactical focus of attention summons micro drones to emit a delayed blast that goes through walls, interrupting and revealing enemies. It specifically creates a cylindrical area of effect in front of the Seer, which after 1.4 seconds hits all of the enemies inside of it. This cylinder is 75 meters long, so the same as your passive, and 8 meters wide in diameter. Enemies hit by the focus of attention will have their channeled actions such as revives or healing items interrupted, receive a 1.25 second silence which prevents them from using legend abilities as well as canceling any abilities that were in progress, and will be revealed to your squad for 8 seconds, as well as having a health bar appear over their heads for the duration of the effect. The enemies will be alerted of this with a large warning saying microdrones detected on top of their HUD. Keep in mind that the 1.4 seconds it takes for your tactical to activate is more than enough for your enemies to react and get out of the way. So make sure to cast it when they are pinned behind cover, or if they are on the move in the open, place it slightly in front of them so they have less of a chance of reacting and dodging your ability in time. While the complete knowledge of an enemy's whereabouts along with their specific health at all times is useful and generally teamfight winning, throwing your tactical at the first sign of enemies is a massive waste because of how it can silence and interrupt healing abilities. Try to hold off on using your tactical until your enemies are damaged and behind cover to heal up, which is the perfect timing to throw your tactical at them and push up. Odds are you're going to interrupt their healing abilities and deny them that little chance they had to heal up and reset, as well as revealing their exposed position and their next move for the following 8 seconds, giving you and your team an easy target to focus and push. It's especially important not to waste your tactical ability, since it has a hefty cooldown of 30 seconds. That being said, if you suspect something is afoot when entering an area and you find signs of enemies with your passive, using your tactical is fine. This will reveal the rats and the relocation to you and your teammates, letting you know whether it's only one enemy ratting or a full team, and allows you to decide whether you want to push or hang back without giving away anything else that your tactical's cooldown. Seer's ultimate ability, Exhibit, creates a sphere of micro drones that reveal the location of enemies moving around quickly or firing your weapons inside of it. The sphere appears from a thrown item in the middle which can be destroyed and has 125 health points. The sphere expands with a diameter of 65 meters. Despite revealing players that move around quickly, meaning walking speed or faster, it won't reveal players that are airborne. Players that are crouching or crouch walking will also not be revealed. The specific speed of the player does not affect it, only whether the player is crouching or not. That means that a Revenant who gets a speed boost when crouching, or an Octane who would be using his stim, also won't be revealed when crouch walking. Enemy's location within the sphere will be revealed, but it's not as informative as when you're using your tactical. Instead, you're going to see diamond shapes for every enemy that is moving around or firing their weapon within the exhibit. This should still be enough to figure out what the enemy team is doing and allow you to shoot through smokes and other visual obstructions. The sphere lasts for 30 seconds unless destroyed, and as such can be fine to use before or in the middle of a fight. You can maximize your value by scouting your enemies with your passive, throwing your ultimate near the enemies but behind cover as you're engaging, and then finally using your tactical once you or your teammates have gotten them low to deny them heals and deliver the finishing blow. If your fight is clean enough, you can also rely on your ultimate to warn you if any team rolls up when you are resetting. Remember that it doesn't reveal enemies standing still or crouching, but as of this recording, this is a fairly unknown fact that most players still don't abuse. Seer takes a supportive role and as such wants to position himself in the rear in teamfights. You have a slim hitbox but no escape or defensive abilities, making you an easy target if caught out. Try to keep an eye on what your teammates are doing in a fight and look for openings to use your tactical, especially if you or your teammate lands one or several armor cracks. If this happens, scan with your tactical and grenade as you and your teammates move up. As I previously mentioned, you also want to keep looking around, especially during fights, to make sure that you don't get caught off guard by a third party joining the fight. As far as a loadout goes, Seer doesn't have any special kit that he benefits from, so your personal preference is more than fine. Though you could see some use from running a mid-range primary coupled with a shotgun, so you can assist your team from the back lines in more ways than just using your abilities. Snipers are a little bit wasted when you have a Seer on your team, since your ability's effective range rarely stretches past those 75 meters. I can't stress the value of having information on your enemies at all times, and most pros consider fighting a Seer while affected by his ultimate or tactical near impossible, since the reveal effect of the ability is enough of an advantage to guarantee a fight win even from a disadvantageous position. Having strategic cover doesn't matter if the enemies know exactly where you are and when you are going to peek, in addition to your exact amount of health remaining to help them focus fire whoever is the lowest. If you or your team is struggling with keeping up with what's happening in teamfights this season, consider picking up a Seer over a Bloodhound. Also, a quick shout out, especially since this video did not have a sponsor. I just want to let you guys know about my Patreon. I am aiming to create an ever-expanding library of Apex Legends knowledge that you can tap into for as little as $6.5 a month, with the ability to get Q&A sessions and personal VOD reviews worth hundreds of dollars at a heavy discount in the higher tiers. I recently uploaded a new VOD review covering some Horizon and movement basics, so if you're interested in checking that out, I've linked my Patreon in the description. And a special thank you to TJP, Fact Snowball, and Divine Asterion for the tier 3 subs and keeping this possible. If you want to see me drop a 20 bomb using Seer, the video is available on the screen right now. Thank you so much for watching, check out that Patreon, and I will see you all tomorrow.